Kuinact is dying. Its barren fields provide little food, and its crumbling walls offer no protection. As the power of the Guardian men here fails, the weirdness creeps ever closer. Twisting places, creatures, and even space itself. Despite this, the people of the Farmhold refuse to leave. Instead, Lord Yvain led 4 of their best on a desperate mission to Camelot. They promised to bring back help. They never returned. Now those left behind are growing desperate. They will try to bestow the burden of their fate on someone else. New heroes, with an even slimmer chance of success. Not long ago, Ephir's Forge supplied the southern lands with weapons and armor of quality comparable to arms crafted by masters of Camelot. Materials brought directly from the mines of Forlorn Swords, as well as Ephir's unrivaled knowledge, made his swords and shields particularly sought after. But with quality and renown came steep prices that not every soldier could pay out of pocket. You were the happiest person on this damned island when Ephir took you under his wing to teach you the basics of his craft. Now, the ruin of his house, the place where you spent countless hours hammering on the blacksmith's iron, looms at the edge of the weirdness, rotting away, a shade of its former glory. Your hand touches the key in your pocket. Every day it feels a little heavier. Every day you wonder whether you will be able to force yourself to walk through that door again. Why would you even try to save his legacy after he found you insufficient? After he lied to you? After he left you behind like a broken tool? With hazy eyes and less than confident hands, you open the door. Maybe that last ale wasn't a good idea. Maybe it was. The fact is that now you're drunk out of your mind. But as you sit near a large workbench, you notice a piece of parchment on the floor under it. That damned letter. You've read it 1,000 times by now. You've tried to burn it 1,000 times more. Drunk as you are, it's not easy to start working at the forge, but you're way past sleeping it off. Kuinact is dying, and everyone who didn't leave by now is going down with it. Hours pass, and from your drunken haze emerges a surprisingly acceptable weapon. It's not nearly as perfect as Ephir's masterpieces, but you never expected to reach the heights of his craft, not to mention the fact you've lost access to materials from the mines of Forlorn Swords. Everything you have on hand are leftovers from the good days. After you've done, you collapse from exhaustion. You wake as the sun sets. Usually, by this time, you'd already be on your way to the inn. You might be able to force yourself to get some work done before you leave, though. The wound in your side suddenly throbs, and you punch it in response, pain and rage overwhelming you for a moment. Only then you notice one of the farmhold's guardians standing in front of you, his mouth agape.
I am sorry, but it's your turn to lay an offering.
God-forsaken offering. It was not your turn today, and even if it were, you know the truth. The Menhir's protection won't last. Oblivion stretches its cold hands towards Kuanacht Farmhold after claiming many other parts of Avalon. Your question takes him aback.
An offering to our guardian Menhir. Have you been outside? The weirdness is close now, and Farmhold's ledger says you're next. Please, don't cause any trouble.
The guard hesitates for a moment.
The knight. He changed our ledger. You are now first on the list.
Anger seethes in you again, causing your wound to burn. The guard sees that and adds,
He's from bloody Camelot. We are not to question his methods. Please, just go and see to the offering.
Time passes. Your wound throbs again, as if something was trying to rip free and join the rolling clouds of weirdness outside. Sitting here any longer would be a torture. The local Menhir now towers above you, weathered and cracked, its ribbons flapping in the wind. The thought that this tired old thing is the only protection from pure weirdness outside of Farmhold sends shivers up your spine. Menhirs, raised by Merlin himself in the Age of Conquest, are said to have different appetites. The one before you seems to best respond to fresh blood, and its thirst is not easy to quench. You push the blade deep into your forearm. The cracked stones drink greedily as your head begins to spin. You feel the Menhir's power surging. Once again, the weirdness is pushed back. Once again, the land returned to Kuanacht is smaller than before, barely reaching past the furthest buildings of the farmhold. Bystanders disperse, and you sit down to catch your breath. Most of the people are now heading for the mead hall to raise a toast for yet another day Kuanacht bought itself with blood. You call out to the druid inside and give the scarred wooden door a push. Inside the clocken, the first thing you notice is a dense smell of rotting meat and human sweat. There's a man half laying on a bed in the corner, looking barely conscious. His hands are trembling. You shake the man's body, and after a while you see his eyes opening. He looks up at you with an absent gaze. Suddenly, he sits up on his bed and shouts,
I told you never to enter this place! Wait, who the hell are you? I don't care. Now, that's smart. That's what I like to hear. I'll tell you what I want. I want to go back to Connacht and finally lie down in me own damn bed with enough mead and mushrooms to carry me over to the other side. In my own home. The home that was taken from me by your lord. One and only Yvain the Dickhead. Just remember, my old house, my old bed, me inside alone. No one bothering me, not now, not ever, save for the time when I run out of meat or drugs. And an apology from Yvain when you're at it.
You leave the druid's hut, still dizzy from the stench you felt inside. You look at the men patiently waiting for the druid junkie to let them in.
You got what you wanted from the warlock? I'm happy for you. I'm glad you're trying to fight against the weirdness. Did the warlock say anything about us? Thank you, Tony. Now we have hope. And that's more than anyone can ask for in these times.
The blades of this lone windmill creak and groan as you approach, as if they were trying to warn you of something. When you enter, the miller immediately announces,
My lord, I'm sorry. That's all I can give you this week.
The moods in the mead hall are sour. While relieved that the town bought some time, By now, even the simplest of Kuanak's folk realize this can only go on for so long. You walk up to them and tell them the truth, that they have no idea how it is beyond the Menhir's light, that Yvain and his group are fighting for you while you sit in the warm mead hall, that you should show them some respect. You almost believe this yourself. You take a place at the edge of the hall, while people begin to talk about sending someone else to find help for Kuanak. Many of them look toward you as they speak. You now feel stupid for drawing so much attention to yourself.
Silence!
Conversations cut off immediately. The crowd parts, and a massive figure pushes towards you. The maimed knight is here. Was he sitting in some far corner of the hall the entire time, or did he arrive just now?
Leave us alone.
Guards gently escort everyone but you outside, ignoring the pleas of people who just started their drinks. Guards take their posts on the other side of the door and make sure no one is eavesdropping by the outside wall. You're now alone with the knight, trying not to look at the bandages covering half of his face, or to think about unsettling stories you've heard about him.
You were able to talk sense into these people, to hold things together when tempers ran high. Good. You might just be the person I was hoping to find. Someone who could handle an urgent task. I kept watching you today. I needed to see how well you deal with hardships and obstacles before I tell you the truth.
Is he attempting to smile with the unspoiled half of his face? Or is it an angry grin?
It would seem this secret is even worse kept than I imagined. Yes, the Menhir won't last much longer. How do you know? A good guess, then. When Lord Yvain left me in charge of this farmhold, I thought the task was beneath me. Turned out it's quite the opposite. I cannot travel outside anymore. Will you help me? We have to find a way to strengthen the Menhir and buy more time, so that Yvain may finish his quest. Blood is not sufficient anymore. We need another source of power to lay at its feet. In days of old, before the purges, it was druids who took care of Menhirs. The one Yvain cast out from the city may still be alive. You may also ask someone who knows a thing or two about objects infused with magic. Your people speak about a witch in the woods to the west. Maybe she knows what could help our stone.
The knight reaches for the satchel at his side and hands you a couple of candles made from strange dark wax.
Weird candles. Make every one of them count. Some more may still be bought around Kuanak, but they get scarcer by the day. And do not make a mistake of thinking that their light turns you invulnerable. If you keep peering too long into the weirdness, it is bound to look back. If you don't go out there, no one will. In weeks, the town will be swallowed whole. Don't wait until the weirdness is at your very doorstep.